Hey guys, my name is Bongani, the proudest South African guy, a risk taker, a believer of a successful nation, a dreamer by night, a achiever by day, and that's all. Period. And today we are talking about podcasting, and I'm joined by someone very special, someone who knows the ins and outs of what it takes to build a podcast, someone who knows the gear of podcasting very well. Brian, introduce yourself, man.
Thanks for having me, man. My name is Brian Lupia, and I'm a product specialist for a company called Musical Distributors. And my portfolio has the RØDE brand within it. So that's pretty much what I do.
The thing is, everyone has been using Rode, like you guys have been dominating, and that's quite amazing. That having to see that the podcast space is growing so much, especially in South Africa.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to grow that much, but literally it's like flooded, and I love that. And one thing that we get to miss sometimes is the right gear. Né? Getting the right gear is very important. Now, I want to ask you, like, from a person who's very unbiased, right? Who is very professional. uh, do you really think podcasts are gonna survive?
Oh yeah, definitely. Look, podcasting's been a thing before people locally started doing podcasts. I remember the first podcast I was a part of. I was technical producer for it.
Yeah.
It was called the African Tech Roundup.
Ooh,
So
I know it.
every week we did, you know, tech news, and then it grew into African tech conversations where we had guys come in that
Talk
are in
about
the technology
tech,
space, talk about tech,
blow
and
up.
Bitcoin, and things like that.
Yeah.
So that when that started, podcasts were a big thing. This American Life and what, those podcasts from
Yeah.
the US, which I think is it's like Podcast Central.
Exactly.
So there were a lot of podcasts that I was already listening to, but there were no local. I didn't know any local podcasts. And so when I was asked to be technical producer by Andile Masuku, a friend of mine,
Yeah.
who started the podcast, it was the first time I got to like actually work on a podcast.
Sure.
So I did all the audio naturally. That's my inclination. But podcasting has been around from before we started getting into podcasting here in South Africa.
Sure.
And it's going to be around
For years.
years. And of course, you've got, I know a lot of people conflate the two, but you've got podcasts and you've got vodcasts, which
Yeah.
are slightly different but the same. So a vodcast would just allow you to have more expression because you've got the visual aspect of it. A podcast is, in your ears. So you're at the gym, you're not really watching anything, you're actually listening. So you got your earphones on and you're listening.
Love that.
Whereas a podcast, you've got the video aspect of it. It's not gonna. It's been around for a long time, and it's gonna be around for an even longer
very long time.
So it's not gonna die anytime soon. It just started.
I love that. The reason why I was asking is because now it really matters in terms of buying gears. That am I investing into something that's gonna die down now, or it's gonna survive in the future? So now that we've got that answer, that listen, it's all system goes right. I want to ask you, why does great sound quality matter?
So, if you've ever listened to any podcast or watched,
Yeah.
something on YouTube,
Yeah.
if it doesn't sound good, you tune out.
True.
If I've got a podcast talking about gear like this,
Yeah.
and we're talking about gear, and I get, hey guys, welcome to my podcast about gear, and it doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
Why should anybody even listen to me?
True.
Already I lose credibility. People quickly tune out and they move on to the next thing because it just doesn't sound
Good.
So already to get people to like really listen to your podcast from beginning to end, sound has to be one of the first things, in fact, if not the most important thing, to get right before we even talk about what you're talking about. Because
Cool.
there's an audience literally for everything. But that audience needs to be able to hear what you're saying clearly.
Exactly.
So sound is a huge part of podcasting.
All right, maybe let's get into it because obviously great sound quality comes with great price. That's one thing that I always fear, that gear is expensive, right?
Yeah.
Maybe let's get into the different types of podcast mic that are available. Maybe educate us there, especially for us who are trying to now get into podcasting and make sure that you still have the best gear, but also at the same time balance between where do I go from beginning and now when I want to advance from what we have to a bigger level.
Yeah.
Educate us on that one.
So one of the things I always say to content creators
Sure.
is you can't wait for the best gear to become available before you start creating content. That's
I
probably
did
not
that
going
to
to
hear
happen.
that.
So, like for me,
Yeah.
I don't have a DSLR camera till this day.
What?
I've never owned a
A
high quality
DSLR.
DSLR camera.
Yeah.
But I've had multiple phones. So,
Mm.
your phone is like the first thing that'll help you create content. Whether
Exactly.
it's visual content or it's just audio, like it's just an audio podcast.
Yeah.
You've got a voice recorder on your phone.
Mm.
And if you can find something that'll connect to your phone
Mm.
to help you improve your audio, even if it's just by 30%,
Mm.
do that and get
And
started.
get
So Rode, naturally I'm here to talk about Rode specifically.
it. Yeah.
Rode has a number of microphones that will connect directly to your cell phone.
Shucks, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've got
I
quite a
thought it
few
was the
phones.
only road mics that you plug in.
So there's a number of them that'll go right into your cell phone.
Okay.
So one of the most popular ones would be the pod mic USB.
Mm.
So this is the one we're currently using now is the pod mic.
Yeah.
Rode makes a USB version of this. So USB and XLR. What happens is you can connect it directly to your phone. Either USB-C to C or Type-C to Lightning, depending on what phone you're using. So maybe if you're using an older iPhone or something. And literally what happens when you connect the mic to your phone, it bypasses your phone's microphone. And it works as your phone's microphone. So whether you record a voice note for WhatsApp, or you take a call, or you're on Zoom,
I want to
or
get
you're
it from my
recording a
WhatsApp messages.
video, it'll record using the
I
quality
love
of
it.
the pod mic. And I mean, there's a number of mics that are even cheaper before
Yeah.
that, like the Rode Wireless Me.
Yes.
Wireless Me is a simple wireless
I love that
one
one.
person. Well, it's a two people system. It's a microphone and a receiver.
Yeah.
But the receiver also has a built-in microphone, so you can do like a two-person interview. And
What?
you can
Wait,
plug-
wait. So,
So-
wait.
So, so it's
the
a
receiver has
wireless
a mic
unit.
as well.
Exactly. So for example, we've got a DJI here, right?
Yeah.
We've got the transmitter and we've got the receiver connected
Yeah.
to the camera there. So audio is going from this transmitter or microphone,
Yeah.
sent to
The other side.
the
The-
camera into
yeah.
the receiver wirelessly, right? Rode has something similar, except the receiver as well has a built-in microphone onto it. So you can use both units as microphones. And the one doubles up as a receiver, which is great. And this is like $3,000 or something like that.
I think I have my next
$2,000,
buy.
$3,000, something like that. And you can literally connect that to your phone. And there's your improved audio quality, just like that. So it doesn't matter what your budget is. You can start literally with your phone and a simple setup where you got a microphone that will connect directly to your cell phone.
Impressive. So now, let's say I've got a little bit of more budget now, right? I want to move away from that. Is there a higher standard that I can go? You know, sometimes people think that, I don't know, but also maybe it's me as well.
Yeah.
Let me say I'm the other people, right? I feel like there's other mics, like in the road, like when you start speaking, it's like the bass is modified
Yeah.
and the trebles
Yeah.
are peeking in. What level do I go from here, right? From this type of microphones to go higher?
So, so let's look at, like, you're starting a podcast, right?
Yeah.
You want to go from you want an XLR microphone that's going to
Yeah.
go into some sort of interface, right? And that's how you're going to record your audio.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd start with the pod mic.
Yeah.
Right? And then from the pod mic you can go one step up to the pod mic USB.
Mm.
Then we've got a full range of USB microphones,
Mm.
right? So NT USB Mini,
Yeah.
NT USB Plus. Those are USB microphones that will connect directly to your computer.
Mm.
Right? So, as a one-person podcast, where talking head, talking to the camera,
Yeah.
you can just use your pod mic. That's it.
Mm.
If you've got maybe 3 people in your podcast,
Yeah.
and your budget is not that big,
Yeah.
you can go into USB Mini
Mm.
with a USB hub. You can plug in up to 4 NT USBs directly to your laptop.
Love
And use Rode Connect, which is a free software that will allow you to route your audio, bring in your microphones, adjust levels, and record. So
I didn't know that.
and that's free. That's completely free of charge.
Yeah.
So starting from about the pod mic,
Yeah.
NT USB Mini, Then we go to the PodMic USB.
Yeah.
Then you get the Procaster, which is
Yeah.
a broadcast level dynamic microphone.
Yeah.
Then we start to get into the realm of your condenser microphones like the Rode NT1 Signature Series or the NT1 Gen 5.
Are those the ones
Obviously, the
that
price
are
is just
like
too. They're
voice?
still sort of within. I mean, it'll get you great sound quality. I mean,
Yeah.
so there's something called DSP, right?
What's DSP?
Digital signal processing. Right.
Is
What
that
that
usually I
is
see it in the mics, the
yes. So
tent
so
somewhere.
so so for example, like the PodMic USB, right?
Yeah.
It goes into your computer, right? And it works as like an audio interface. And when you open your Rode Connect software,
Yeah.
it allows you to adjust certain things like the big bottom, which is that broadcast sounding boomy sound. There's a
Yes.
compressor on there, an equalizer. You get like a gate as well that'll cut out some of the lower frequencies and stuff like that, and that'll help you get that high quality broadcast sounding audio. It's also got presets on there, so you can actually select the preset
Save
that
the
says
preset.
podcast, and like click on that, and it sets it up for you. Yeah.
So there's a podcast setting in on top of the presets.
So yes,
Is
so
it
among
a
the presets
preset
you've got.
named?
It's called
Sorry.
Podcast Studio. It's a preset.
Okay.
When on the drop down menu you've got neutral,
Uh huh.
and then you've got Podcast Studio, then you've got broadcast. So depending on which one you select, it'll set the mic up for that scenario. If you know a lot about audio, you can go in and adjust certain things, but that preset is like slap it
Proper.
on there and you're ready to go.
Cool.
We're probably going to talk about this a little bit later on in the video, but there's something called the Rodecaster Pro.
Let's talk about it. Let's
The
get into it.
Rodecaster Pro, that's basically Rode's flagship
Yes.
podcasting
Yes.
mixer, right? And it's got a bunch of really cool DSP built into it. So you've got all these presets built into it already. So literally, when you buy your Rodecaster Pro,
Yeah.
and you turn it on and you go through the setup wizard, as soon as you plug in your microphone and you select the pod mic, because it'll give you a bunch of presets. It'll actually have a preset for the pod mic. You just select that preset and everything is already set and ready to go. You will literally hear it as soon as you
As
select
soon as
it,
you change.
you will hear your voice go, "Oh my god, wow." And you'll be like, "This is what I sound like. This is great." So that is a powerful tool for somebody that's looking to elevate, like really elevate their
The
audio
thing.
on their podcast.
All right, since you got into the interface, maybe let's just jump into a little bit of it, right? I think maybe like if you were to explain to me as like someone who's starting out to say, okay, what is an interface? Like, why do you need it, right?
Yeah.
So obviously people are thinking that once I buy a mic and a camera, I'm done.
You're done, yeah.
But
yeah.
then there's that interface that converts everything. Maybe explain to us what is it and the entry level into also a bit of a professional level
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, when you buy a microphone, for example, the pod mic,
Yeah.
this is an XLR microphone, meaning it uses a cable like this one, XLR cable that
Yeah.
goes into. It needs to go into a source, right? Into something like a mixer or something that's going to capture the audio.
Yeah.
So if you've got a camera and a microphone, you still need a go-between, right? That'll send audio from your microphone into your camera theoretically, right? So the audio interface basically captures the audio, and
Yeah.
and then you can then take that audio and stitch it together with your video if you're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
So the interface is basically what sends the audio from the microphone into where you're recording, whether
Yeah.
it's your laptop, probably your laptop, right?
Exactly.
So Rode does make an interface, a small interface, a one-channel interface called the AI1.
Yeah.
And the AI1 basically is a one-channel interface, right?
it was
We've
somewhere.
got one there.
Yeah.
This is where you plug in your XLR microphone, like
Yeah.
a pod mic, and then you plug it into your computer via USB.
Yeah.
And so what happens is your computer has a built-in microphone, but once you plug a USB
USB-C,
interface into
yeah.
it, it bypasses your computer's microphone and allows that interface to be the controller of your audio. So you basically say, cool, my audio is going to be controlled by the Rode AI1. So now the microphone that's connected to your interface will then send audio into your computer. Then you're going to need a digital audio workstation, a DAW. Like
Yeah.
Logic or FL Studio or Cubase or whatever.
Hey.
But Rode makes something completely free of charge, because these are the
Oh,
ones you
so I
have
don't
to
have to
buy.
pay like the
Rode
FL
makes
Studio. Yeah.
something called Rode Connect, which is free, 100% free. You
Mm.
open it up, and it'll show you your input and the levels. You can go in and you can put some effects on it and whatnot, and then you can also it's also got some sound effects,
Yeah.
like laughter, applause, and like yeah, exactly. That same thing that you see on the Rodecaster Pro.
Yeah.
You've got like a digital version of it on your computer on Rode
Can I
Connect.
output that sound to, because like for example, if I have the roadcaster here, I can output it. Can I output it as well, like to is it? I don't know how to ask the question.
So basically, if you had like a physical Rodecaster,
Yes, it will act exactly the same way as a roadcaster.
yes, it'll be the same, pretty much the same thing, but digital on your computer.
Why is all this information coming up now?
It,
Like,
it's
could
actually
be.
crazy. So there's so much information
Yeah.
that's available that unfortunately we just don't know.
Yeah.
So it's the job of a guy like me to tell you about Road Connect, Road Central, the
Yeah.
Road Capture. The Road Capture is a camera app that works with all Rode
Products.
USB microphones that are able to connect to your in the Rodecaster Pro. You can actually connect the Rodecaster Pro to your cell phone, which is great. So as you can see, you got picture in picture here.
Yeah.
You can do a
Split screen.
split screen.
Oh, wait.
So that's you and that's
Oh.
me. You've seen this
And
type
then,
of setup on
yes,
Instagram.
and then I now plugged in with the audio.
Plugged in
So
with the
now
audio, then it's perfect. You see, you've got your full thing
Going
done.
on.
Audio and video connected, done. So that's a very powerful app that you can use with the Rode microphones.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff that exists that we don't really know about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I tell people creating content, whether it's a podcast or whatever it is, doesn't need you to have the best studio and the best equipment available.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that you can get for free that'll help you create content that's going to be good enough to post onto TikTok, Instagram stories, reels and things like that.
Exactly. I think maybe now let's jump into the other product that excites me a lot, right? I think it's because it's AI driven as well. The Roadcaster video, right?
Rodecaster Video,
Yeah.
it's a fairly new.
Yeah.
It's actually Rode's latest
Development.
interface. Yeah.
Product.
So what they did was they combined the Rodecaster Duo. So we've got a Rodecaster Pro, which is your full mic interface, right? Then there's a Rodecaster Duo, which is a slightly smaller, same thing, same engine, same heart, same guts, except 2-channel. So basically a smaller footprint.
Yeah.
So what they did was they took the Rodecaster Duo and all its power, and they combined it with a video switcher. Yeah. So think Atom Mini Pro, whatever.
Yes.
You've got 4 HDMI inputs.
Coming in.
Yeah. 2 HDMI outputs,
Yes.
right? And then you've got your
Very important.
two XLR inputs.
XLR.
XLR
Not
inputs.
mini micro jack thing.
Not those ones that
Very
you find
important.
on
XLR.
other one.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not gonna knock their product, but
cool.
yeah, you've got 2 XLR, well,
Yeah.
combination inputs. So it's either jack or XLR.
Cool.
And then you've got 2 headphone outputs.
Yeah.
Then you've got 2 stereo outputs. Then you've got 5 USB multi-purpose
Yeah.
inputs. So 1, 2, if I'm not mistaken, computer settings, right? Then you've got 3, which will allow you to plug in a hard drive.
Yeah.
And then you've got 4 and 5, which would take either a microphone or a webcam, USB-C based webcam.
So technically you can
So
have 5 cameras.
Yeah, 5, actually 6 cameras. You
6.
can actually- up to 6 cameras, yeah. So 4 HDMI,
Exactly.
2 USB-C, right? Then you've got a slot for a micro SD card.
Yeah.
Micro SD card will hold any media that you want to use in your production, whatever it is that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Then it's got buttons on the top,
Yeah.
which allow you to either change cameras,
Yeah.
or change scenes, or bring in video or lower thirds, all kinds of different
Yeah.
things. So the Rodecaster Video is a fully fledged studio. Yeah. So it'll manage everything, your audio and your video.
Love that.
It can also record ISO. Basically, you can record all the inputs that are coming into the unit. So
And
all
then
the
edit
cameras
later
separately,
on.
and then edit later on. Or you can record the program, where it'll record all your switching and all that, and all
In
the
a final
audio
product.
stitched together, ready to go. Yeah. So the Rodecaster videos are powerful, powerful, powerful
I
tool.
don't know it can ISO record. That's impressive,
can.
eh? I think
You can.
that's very impressive.
It has some really, just before we move away
Yeah,
from
yeah.
it.
No, we're not
You
moving.
can
Yeah,
actually
wait. I'm still
one thing you can actually do, which I think is like really, really, really amazing. So
Yeah.
let's say you've got three cameras, right?
Yeah.
You've got a wide, and then you've got your camera for your guest, and then you've got a camera for the host, right?
Yeah.
You can set priorities within the Rodecaster video. You can say prioritize. So you can link microphone one, which is the host, to
Camera
the camera
one.
that's pointing the host, right?
Yeah.
And then microphone two, which is the guest, to the camera that's pointing the guest. Right? And then inside the Rodecaster, you can set a priority and say prioritize my guest.
Mm.
So you can set high priority for the guest, medium priority for the wide, and a low priority for
The other mic.
for the host,
Yes.
or vice versa, right? Whichever one you want to prioritize. Then as they speak, it'll automatically switch. Yeah. So as the host, you're asking me a question, right? When
Yes.
you're talking on the program feed that we're looking at, right,
Yeah.
that we're recording, it'll switch to your camera. And then you'll ask your question, and as soon as I start speaking as the guest, it'll switch
prioritizes
on its
that.
own. Yeah. And what's great is that if it took too long to switch for any reason, there was some delays or whatever,
Yeah.
the AI didn't work well, you've still got your ISO record. You've got everything separately, so you can literally just, okay, cool, that didn't switch at the right time. Let me just bring that in, cut it, and put it there easily.
Clean.
So, and that's just like a small part of what it does, which I just thought was like really amazing. So very powerful tool. That's at the top of the
range.
range when it comes to the Rode products that exist.
I think I love that a lot. It's very impressive, and I think it's something that you guys are like because you guys know, especially in terms of like equipment wise, you know that what our needs, and I think that addresses a lot of needs, especially in the podcast space,
Yeah.
because sometimes podcast we are talking. There is no need for heavy editing.
Yeah.
You need that cut in,
Yeah.
cut in, cut out, cut in, because we pay a lot of money for AI softwares just to drag in all the clips and then it cuts for us.
Yeah.
And of which now that's what Rode is doing. It's literally making sure that everything moves into that.
That's
And
exactly
that's
right,
what I
yeah.
love. I love that thing. And I think one thing that I also like, right, on that machine is that it's small, it's portable.
It's literally like,
I think we need to have a segment of
tiny.
live streaming because I
Yeah.
feel like that one for me it needs a full on segment.
Oh, yeah,
especially
live
going
streaming
to
is like
lower thirds,
quite-
the
yeah.
micros in
Yeah.
the thing. Oh, I love it.
Live streaming is quite intense, yeah.
Yo.
But if you have a Rodecaster video, I mean,
You sorted. So just one more question on that, right?
Yeah.
Do you now, if you've got the video, you still need the broadcast as well?
no. So if you have a Rodecaster video, it just depends on how many microphones you wanna bring in.
Yeah.
So if you've got, let's look at the Whatever podcast, right?
Yes.
They've got what, 7 people on there.
Yes.
So it's like 6 guests
Yo.
plus the host. In fact, the host usually has like a friend with him.
Yeah.
So it's
There's always like
7 or 8. There's like 7 or 8 people, all on microphones, right? So imagine you've got a setup like that.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 mics on your Rodecaster video,
Mm.
and then your Rodecaster Pro has 4 XLR mics, right? You can connect a pod mic USB
Oh.
to the Rodecaster video. That makes 3, right?
Exactly.
And you can connect a Rodecaster a pod mic USB to
Yes.
the Rodecaster Pro. That makes what? So that's 5 plus 3.
3.
Yeah.
Already on 8.
So we're on 8 already. And then you just take the USB USB on the Rodecaster Pro and connect it to the Rodecaster video on one of the USBs on the Rodecaster video,
Exactly.
and it brings in all that audio into your Rodecaster video. So now you've literally got all your audio coming through into the Rodecaster video and going into your video source.
I want to ask you a question, right? One of the biggest problems that we always encounter, right? If I've got 8 guests, right? And if you connect multiple mics, how how does it not fit? Because I know sometimes if you connect weird mics that are not Rode, it's gonna overlap
I
into
like that. Weird
others.
mics that are not road. That's great.
No shade to other brands.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
just saying
Yeah.
because I've seen it a lot. It
Yeah.
happens, but whenever I use my Rode mics, I know that I'm not gonna have that problem. But it sometimes like overlaps that you sort of have like double audio,
Yeah.
and then it that
Yeah.
carries.
So basically I'm speaking into my microphone, but my voice is bleeding into your microphone.
Yes.
So with Rode, right?
Yeah.
These mics are dynamic microphones, which
Yeah.
means um, they 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 work on proximity. Right? So you need to be close to the microphone.
Yeah.
But the other thing about them is they pick up audio from the front. Mainly. So the side, there's a lot of rejection that happens. So already anybody that's next to me, the microphone is rejecting that audio and just picking up the audio that I'm speaking into
Speaking
them.
to
Yeah. But then
directly.
you have things like gates. Like you can put a gate onto that audio that you've recorded, so that it cuts out any audio below a certain
The
dB.
decibel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll cut out literally if there was a fan in the room, or maybe we didn't switch off the aircon in this room.
Yeah.
It can cut out. The gate can automatically cut all that out and just leave the audio that was above a certain dB. So gates are important. So you can put, if you've got multiple microphones in the same room,
Yeah.
just put a gate on each one. But you need to listen, because as you're setting the threshold and all that, you need to make sure that you're not setting it too low or too high, that you're cutting out the audio of the person that's actually speaking into the
I
microphone.
love it.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
So a gate, that one of the easiest ways to fix that problem of bleed is to use a gate.
Oh, it's called bleed.
Yeah, bleed. Yeah. So
Nice.
my voice bleeds into your microphone. Your microphone.
I
bleeds
love
into
that.
Yeah.
I think that's why, like, for the longest time, I've always wondered, like, even if you try and research on Google, it doesn't give you a clear answer. That's what
Yeah.
I've always wondered. And for some reason, that's what I'm saying. Like, for some reason, you get it on road. All
Because it
right.
also, I mean, just on that as well, it also depends on the microphone that you're using. So if you've got multiple people on a podcast, it's best to use a dynamic microphone. Whether it's a Rode pod mic, or it's a Shure SM7B,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
As long as it's a dynamic microphone, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna get a better result. As soon as you get into condenser capsules, right? Like a NT1 signature, which
Yeah.
is best for like studio recording. With a condenser, it's a super sensitive capsule. It's gonna pick up everything, even people walking around
Yeah.
in the hallway here. So if you're in a controlled environment,
You can use
you
that
can
one.
use that one, yeah. But in a situation like here, we're in this building, there's people recording next door. It's best to use a dynamic microphone. Yeah.
I want us to talk about the accessories, right? The accessories on podcasting. I think maybe give us tips on what accessories should we get for podcasting.
So first thing, obviously, microphone, right?
Yeah.
Then your microphone cable. So if you're using a XLR microphone like this, you're gonna need an XLR cable,
Yeah.
right? Then you're gonna need a pair of headphones, right? You're gonna need a microphone stand or
Yeah.
a boom arm,
Yeah.
right? So that's a microphone stand, or a boom
Yeah.
arm like this one, right? Microphone stands do come straight. Then you
Yeah.
get microphone stands with a boom as well. So depending on what your setup is, that's what you're gonna need. So it's the microphone, it's the microphone cable, it's the headphones, it's the boom arm. What else do we need? Oh, an interface, right? Obviously,
Yes.
you're gonna need an interface that's gonna go between your microphone, your input, and your whether it's your laptop or your camera, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
So think about what you're trying to achieve, and then you can then decide what products you're going to need to achieve it.
I love that.
You can do your podcast using your phone. And if you're gonna use your phone, you need to buy the stuff that's going to work with your phone, like a Rode wireless micro that's
Exactly.
gonna plug straight into your phone and
Clip
clip
in.
onto you, and then a phone stand,
Exactly.
and a light, and that's it. You're done, right? So those are some of the things that basically that you would need to
Yeah.
start a podcast. Yeah.
All right. So for those who are trying to start a podcast, for some of us who are still new in this industry, you're trying to get into a space where podcasting looks like it's saturated, but also at the same time, we know that the topics that we want to discuss are very important. How do we get into that space from equipment point of view? What do we get? How do we get it? and all that.
Yeah. So first thing I want to say is, there's always an audience for your podcast. Like, doesn't matter what you're going to be talking about.
Even
There's
if it's
always an
two views.
audience.
Yeah.
Always an audience. Even if it's 2 people, 5 people, there's always an
Yeah.
audience, right, for your podcast. That's number one.
Yeah.
Because you need to have a reason to do your podcast. Right? So first thing, there's an audience, so somebody wants to hear your podcast, so
Yeah.
do it, right? That's number one. Secondly, look at the format that you want to go with for your podcast, right?
Okay.
And that's going to inform what sort of gear you're going to need. So, are you seated in a studio or something like this? You know, is that the setup of your podcast? Is it 2 people, 3 people? Is it
Yeah.
just you, a talking head? Then that sort of informs what you need to get.
Yeah.
Do I need um, a single microphone on a boom arm that's going to be attached to a table? My laptop is in front of me. My camera is in front of me there.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. One light. You know, so you need to look at what you're trying to do on your podcast, and then that'll tell you what you need for your podcast.
Yeah.
But at the very least, you're going to need a microphone
Very important.
and either your cell phone or a DSLR camera like that one.
Ooh.
So even when we talk, if you're using a cell phone
Yeah.
and a USB microphone,
Yeah.
that's it. You're pretty much done. But if you want to use a DSLR camera, you can simply use a wireless microphone.
Yeah.
And simply just send audio wirelessly directly to your DSLR camera. That's pretty much it. So it just depends on what you're trying to achieve, and that'll tell you where to start. You could also look for me on social media and ask me.
I love it. Plug yourself. What's your social media handle?
So it's Brian King World.
Yeah.
Just one word. That's where you find me. So you can drop me a message on Instagram, ask me your question, and I'll go to your Instagram and check it out. If it's cool, I'll give you some information.
Let me be the first one to ask
Yeah.
a question, right? I think this is not product related, but then what are your top 3 podcast recommendations?
So I think it's pretty much what I said just now. But I think like which podcast to listen to?
Yes,
or what?
listen to. So
which
this is
podcast
the
to
extra
listen to?
podcast.
Okay,
Not,
okay.
that's what I'm saying, product.
So I like obviously Mac G's podcast and chill.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool podcast.
Why? Say it with your chest.
I like Mac G's podcast and chill. I don't need to tell you to go check it out. You've probably seen it already. But
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool podcast because, I mean, look at what he talks about, who he's speaking to.
Yeah.
He's talking
It's
to
evolving.
everybody. He's
Exactly.
literally talking to everybody, which is amazing. You know, and from where he started to where he is now, it's quite a story.
Exactly.
And one thing about MacG and his team, they're not divas at all. I've bumped into them at Arise Studios. Arise Studios is not like the biggest and the best studio in Joburg, but a few of MacG's podcasts have been recorded there. You know, and he came in with his whole team, and they were very, very cool people to work with, which is great. They're just very relaxed, you know. So obviously, that's one of my top podcasts, local podcasts.
Yeah.
There's another podcast called Sibling Thrivery,
Ooh.
recorded at Case and Point Studios in Randburg. It's a new studio, very, very nice, beautiful studio.
Check it out.
Go check out Sibling Thrivery. They're fairly new, but I love what they talk about. They're twins, right? Boy and a girl. And I think I gravitate towards them because I have a twin sister as well.
Oh, nice. That's why. That's why.
Unfortunately, we don't have a podcast. But
Yeah.
so Sibling Thrivery. And then the third one is an American podcast. It's called The Matt Walsh Show. So I really enjoy The Matt Walsh Show because of his, you know,
Character.
his demeanor. He's super sarcastic and funny, but he's talking about culture,
Yeah.
which I think is great because culture shapes our lives. Culture really affects our
love
lives
it.
in a serious way. But go check out my own personal podcast as well.
Plug yourself in. Yeah.
It's called the Jova Podcast. So
Yeah.
Jova_podcast basically stands for Journey of a Vocal Arranger. So we talk about music and music production and vocal music and stuff like that. Go check it out. There's a few episodes on there. We're on TikTok, so that's our main platform. Check us out on TikTok. Obviously on YouTube. YouTube is such a difficult platform
It depends. It
to grow.
depends. It depends. I'll tell you after.
I think I
I've got
need
a
some
couple.
help
No, I've
there
got a
because
couple of secrets
yeah,
around it.
man,
Yeah,
I've been your YouTube. YouTube has been
difficult.
painstaking and slow. Yeah,
Yeah,
but anyway, we'll talk about
we'll
that
talk about it.
offline.
All right, no problem. So with that said, guys, since we have a conversation to catch up on, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. And also, please do let me know on the comments what questions do you have, and then so that we can bring him back again, so that he can answer all the questions that you guys have. And also, if you want equipment, please. Camera Lens Center is there. They can offer you all the equipments that the road guy spoke about.
100%. That's
You
it.
know, it's a plug. And tell them maybe they might give you a discount. I don't know. This is not a paid partnership, so go beg for a discount and say Bongani sent you. They will
Go
give you a
big for
discount.
this.
Yeah. But anyway, so where do you find you on your handles in terms of the work wise? And obviously you did say on your personal one, but work wise, where do we find you guys?
So if you want to know more about Rode, just
Yeah.
go onto Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and just search Rode microphones, and you'll find the handle. And there's a lot of one thing that's cool about Rode is they've got a lot of resources.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that I spoke about today, you'll find on there, and they really get into detail on how to do
Yeah.
things and how to set things, and techniques about audio and things like that. There's a lot of information, especially on their YouTube channel. So just Rode microphones, and you find them on all platforms.
Love it. All right, thank you so much.
Cool.
Really appreciate it,
Thanks for
hey?
having me. It's been fun.
Cool, cool. Thank you so much. That's about it, guys. Like,
Cool.
it became a podcast.